Hi, and welcome to my channel, Laura's Library Card. So, today is Monday. I had to go back to work. I'm no longer on vacation. I don't know who set up this whole capitalism thing, but I'm not a fan. I have multiple book prompts tarot cards that I've pulled that are prompts that I should be working on, right? I have multiple things, like 2, 3, I don't even know how many prompts I have actively going right now. But I don't really want to read any of those. I want to continue the weird romantic suspense series that I started yesterday as spur of the moment. But it kind of ended on a cliffhanger. You should check out my last vlog if you missed it. But I finished the book Inside Affair, which is a male-male romance where there's a bodyguard who has been hired to help protect this celebrity, and the bodyguard is actually his best friend's brother, who is a detective, and they develop a little romance over the course of the book, and then it ends in a cliffhanger, and that's what I want to keep reading. So I don't really care that it doesn't fit any of my tarot readathon prompts. I think it could fit for my significator because we got a new significator prompt that dropped today, and the prompt for the team's wands significator is it is the 3 of Cups, which is to read a book that's featuring a friendship, and I feel like these characters were friends before they started a relationship, so I feel like that's going to count. So at the very least I can get some pages read. Well, I mean, I guess if I don't count it for my minor arcana, I can't count it pages read, but I will finish a book. I can count it for major arcana. That's what I want to read right now. That's what I'm going to work on. I don't have any plans this evening. Ben has just started a stream, so other than figuring out what I'm going to eat for dinner, evening's wide open. So I'll come back to you in a little bit with what I've decided. Hi, okay, so I am 50% of the way into Breaking News, which is the sequel to Inside Affair. So I read Inside Affair in last week's vlog, and at the end of that, I think I already said the premise. Celebrity guy who is a news anchor has a stalker, and he goes to his best friend's brother to ask for a bodyguard security information, and that guy Sean is like, yeah, Xander, I'll help you. So Sean and Xander have known each other for years and years and years, and kind of like grew up nearby, you know, brother's best friend situation, and over the course of that book they start having feelings, and Xander is out and gay, and Sean has always thought he was straight, but he is like, Xander, damn. Okay, so at the end of the first book, there is a big inciting incident that ends on a cliffhanger. So the start of this book picks up basically from right there, and we have a little bit of suspense while we figure out what's going on, and then eventually the rest, you know, so far this first half of the book is sort of the immediate aftermath, and the first, I don't know, week or 2 weeks or so of the aftermath after the inciting incident. And there is some, so at this point we have some recovery going on. There's a little bit of like playing nurse going on, or there was, and then also there's a little bit of like PTSD stuff going on, and the police want to know a lot more information from Xander about this person who has been stalking him. So yeah, so far, I mean, I'm reading this easy peasy, flying right through it. It is fun, quick, easy read. This one is even shorter than the first book. First book was like 240 pages. This one is 202 pages. So my Kindle says I only have an hour left. So I'm definitely going to finish this before I go to bed. And I'm enjoying it. Like, I feel like I don't want to give away too much plot, but like that's kind of mostly everything that's been happening. I feel like it's believable to understand why these two might have feelings for each other. I feel like we are too much too fast. Like, it has only been 3 or like they were only together. The first book was only like 2 weeks, and by the end of the first book they weren't saying I love you, but they were like, oh man, like he's the one for me, like this is really something special, you know. And it sort of feels a little bit like that's the situation where we're happening now. They're kind of like talking about things in a more serious way than I mean, I guess that's not totally true. They both feel like this depth of feeling for the other person that to me doesn't feel like it's warranted yet. But like I said, they have known each other their whole lives, so I think that some of that might be coming into play. You know what I mean? Like they were already like familiar with each other. If they had just met at the start of the first book, this would be way, way, way too fast. I'm just wanting a little bit more emotional development because that's how I roll and that's what I want in my romances. But I'm enjoying this, and I have a feeling. It's gonna get a little steamy in this book, but I'm kind of interested to see where this one's going to go because there is a third book in the series. And so I'm kind of like, is there going to be sort of a cliffhanger ending at the end of book 2? And it looks like the third book is 250 pages. I already checked it out from Kindle Unlimited. We shall see. But I might just end up plowing through all 3 of these books. And I realized after the end of my last clip that I'm Team Wands. I can just count a romance for any tarot card that I want. Now, I don't feel like that is the spirit of things, but that's my ability, so why not use it to get the pages to count for my minor arcana, right? Okay, so I finished Breaking News, and I'm pretty proud of myself. 200 pages in 2 or 3 hours. Let's go. I had a really fun time with this. This is a continuation of Xander and Sean's story. I don't want to give too much away from the of the plot, but basically this book is dealing with sort of PTSD and dealing with hard things and dealing with 2 hard things. And we finally get to see Xander and Sean kind of really take some dedicated time to be together. Again, I still kind of want more emotional development. That's how I prefer my romances. I felt like we got a good healthy dose of that in this book, especially in the second half where the 2 are determined to spend significant time together. I would have liked a little bit more on page, but I think that, you know, having 2 novellas, this is pretty good. I think I should have probably seen the conflict, you know, cliffhanger ending. You know, probably should have seen that coming, considering, you know, what I just know about the book. But I felt like, if you know, you know. I'm not going to spoil things, but the end of the book is when the conflict happens, and I felt like it was really overdone. It is external conflict. It is not a big fight between our 2 main characters. Something is happening that they are both dealing with and responding to, and I felt like it was just like kind of dumb. I mean, this is a conflict that I think is pretty typical for books that are along this vein. Again, I don't want to like give spoilers away, but I kind of always think this is stupid. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and like put it here in text across the screen. Read it if you want to. You don't have to. Okay, so 3 seconds of spoilers. So yeah, that is the second book of this series. The series is called Prime Time. It's by Ella Frank, and there is one more book in the series, and I do intend to finish that. I don't know about next. I think I might want to take a little bit of a break, read something else. I also have Done and Dusted out as an audiobook, so that's what you can look forward to in this week, in this vlog. And yeah, we are off to a dramatic Monday start. Hello. Okay, so quick update because I don't have a ton to say, but today is Tuesday and I started Done and Dusted. This is a contemporary Western romance, and so far I'm only like the first 10%. Told you I didn't have much to say. I started listening to the audiobook, and so far it's perfectly fine. Nothing to say about that. And we are following our main female character of Clementine, or Emmy, and she, for reasons that are a little unclear so far, has decided to take a break from what she's doing, which is apparently like a whole bunch of rodeo and horseback riding shows where she's like winning prizes, barrel racing, etc. I think that she's gotten thrown from a horse and it's really shook her up, and she has decided to kind of take a break, if not like end her career, essentially winning all these awards and stuff. So she has decided to go home to Wyoming and back to her family's ranch, and she does this all very spur of the moment, hasn't let her family know, her protective older brothers or her protective father. She shows up at her best friend's door, and her best friend's like, cool, cool. Also, you need a break. And so the best friend takes her to a bar. And who is the owner of said bar but a brother's best friend? Yes, this is another brother's best friend romance. And there is obviously a, oh my gosh, I find him so annoying. Oh my gosh, I find her so annoying. But also, like, super hot level of sort of backstory and chemistry there. So I can't even remember his name. I think his name is Luke. And I think that all of the things that, you know, in the next chapter or two, she's realizing that he has something to do with like her niece. Like he helps like take care of her niece and that kind of stuff. And I think that she is going to realize that like, oh, my perceptions of you are dramatically outdated and are wrong. I definitely thought of you as this like good for nothing dude, and you're going to actually try not to be responsible or something. I don't know. Not hating it, not loving it. It's just the beginning. So that's the premise and that's a start. And I just really don't have much to say yet. I'm wondering a little bit about like what's his deal. Like, I'm not sure. I feel like it's clear that she has something going on with her and that's why she's in town. And that's sort of her internal conflict and what's going on with her. But I'm curious to know what his stuff is. So it's too soon to tell. Hi, it is Wednesday and I'm home from work and I wanted to give you a little update because I am 45% of the way into Done and Dusted. I listened to a big chunk, 40%, 35%, something like that, today at work of the audiobook. And yeah, I had a pretty good day at work. It was productive, but I was still managing to like listen to my audiobook and took a TikTok break, etc. Don't tell my boss. But yeah, it was the book so far is fine. Like it's solid. It's good. Like I don't know exactly why I'm not like super into it. Okay, I think I do know why I'm super into it. Let me tell you. I think I already gave the premise and stuff when I gave a 10% update, but yeah, I don't remember if I said that it was dual point of view, but it is dual point of view, which I appreciate. That's something that I want in my romances. Am I straight? Oh well. So I am enjoying that it is dual point of view, and this is also a brother's best friend, brother's little sister kind of situation. And our characters, at least, I don't know, our characters are like semi interesting. They have some stuff going for them. Emmy Clementine is we've gotten a chance to a little bit further to know what's going on with her. She somewhat relatively recently, within the last like 2 or 3 months, was thrown from a horse and was hurt, but like not like it could have been way worse. And it just really, really shook her. And so she hasn't been able to get back on a horse and ride or race or compete or anything since then. And it's really cramping her lifestyle, but also like it's this very important element of who she is. She grew up on a ranch and riding is her like passion and something she absolutely loves in life. And if she can't do it anymore, like who is she and what is she going to do and what about her career and competing, etc. So that's why she's come home. And we have seen, and she also has ADHD and she so just seems very like lost right now. And she is pretty much instantly reminded of how attractive Luke is, but she's like, oh man, that guy, like he's you know irresponsible and like careless and like so laid back, such a ladies' man from her youth and when she last knew him like 10 years ago when she last like really lived in this hometown. Luke definitely had a crappy childhood and has like some family trauma kind of stuff there from his youth, but like seems to have really kind of turned things around a bit. And I guess one thing that I don't love about this book is that basically from the second that Clementine, Emmy, walks into Luke's bar, he is like, oh my God, is that Emmy? And he's just like heart eyes. Like, and he just like instantly is like, oh, she's so hot. Like her in the neon light. It's, oh my gosh, my jeans are tightening. And I'm just like, okay. And so it's one thing to kind of notice someone lustfully, even notice someone that you haven't seen in a while or that you always thought of as, you know, your best friend's kid sister. And then like suddenly kind of recognize that she's who she is. But like Luke is pretty much like already, like, from every single conversation that they have, he's like, I just want to know her more. I just can't, like, wait to rewrite my life around her. I want to spend every minute with her, and I've never felt this way about a woman before. What am I going to do? It just really feels like he, like, fell, like, it feels like he's essentially been pining for her for years. Like, there's been zero work done for Luke to be wanting Emmy. And Emmy is attracted to Luke, but is like, oh, he's so annoying. But she pretty quickly is like, but then why can't I get him out of my head? And my frustration is that, like, time is passing and we get to hear that these two are hanging out together, but we don't get to see any of that on page. Like, ultimately, he ends up finding out about the whole, like, she was thrown from a horse and she is struggling to get back on a horse, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, okay, well, I'll help you. And then it says, like, oh, we've been meeting every day for the last week and we've been talking and hanging out and working on, like, he's helping her get back on the horse and learn to ride again. And I'm like, that's what I want to see. I want to see you guys reconnecting. I want to know why you're falling for him. Because she's like, he's not like I remember. Like, he likes band X. He likes food Y. Like, like, she is realizing stuff about him. But, like, I don't get to see any of it, right? Like, we're just being told that, like, she has a crush on him because of this time that they hung out that you don't get to see. So it's kind of annoying to me. That's pages that I want to slog through. Not slog through, but that's pages that I'm willing to read because that's length of the book where I'm understanding who these characters are and why they like each other. So at this point, at 45%, like, they're I don't want to say they're on a date, but, like, he says, "Oh, hey, can I show you someplace that's special to me that I've never taken anyone else before?" And I'm just like, I don't know. I'm, it's perfectly good. There is nothing wrong with it. I just also don't love that she's not communicating with her family and that both of them are like, oh my God, the brother, like, Luke is like, I can't believe I'm having these feelings for my best friend's kid sister. And my best friend would, like, totally murder me if he knew. And I always feel like that's like I don't know. Most of the time, with, like, a brother's best friend, that's a huge conflict. Is like, what is our connecting person, the like, brother character? Like, what are they gonna do? What they will be so upset when they find out. And to me, I always feel like that's a really weak thing. Like, shouldn't your brother be like? It's very much like Ross on Friends. He's like, my sister and my best friend, and then he goes,
my best friend and my
to me, that's exactly the situation. Like, why, if your best friend, like, it considers you to be his best friend, and if your best friend, like, loves his little sister, like, why would he not want you guys together? I get that, like, Luke kind of has a reputation historically of, like, being kind of a ladies' man or a player and not having a great relationship, track record. But, like, so I could understand you finding out that, like, oh, you better be serious about my sister. And, like, maybe that's what happened with Ross. I'm, like, forgetting what happened between Ross's two lines. Like, maybe Chandler says, like, oh, and I love her. And so, yeah, I can understand how Gus in this book would be like, oh my God, Wes, like, don't you, like, have sex with my sister and then just, like, leave her, So I don't know. I just feel like that's a conflict that Wes and Clementine are both concerned about, that I'm just kind of like, I feel like should be a non-starter. But so yeah, it's good. It's fine. Today's the 31st of July. I would love to finish this book today and be able to submit it for a tarot readathon and get one more book in, and get one more book in for the month as well. I am home from work, and other than dinner and later possibly hanging out with Benjamin, I don't really have plans, but I only have Done and Dusted on audiobook. So right now, as soon as I'm done filming this little clip and talking to you, I'm going to go work on my Diamond Dots painting and put on the audiobook. And I think that is mindless enough that I'll be able to crank the speed up a little bit, and hopefully I can make a really big dent, if not finish the book. So I will come back with probably my final thoughts on Done and Dusted. Okay, I finished Done and Dusted. It's technically 12:15 on, 15 minutes into August 1st, but just don't tell the boss. But yeah, so I finished, done and dusted. And, I thought it was cute. I thought overall I enjoyed it. I had a nice time. I felt like I kind of wonder if westerns aren't really my thing, if small town. I have a thing about small towns. Okay, so this is like kind of scattered because it's past my bedtime, but I personally grew up in like suburbia, like not really big city, not a small town. Didn't run into people in the grocery store, that kind of thing. I didn't see people I constantly knew. Um, in this book, Luke is a person who grew up in this small town and like never left. And he multiple times is sort of judged, especially by Emmy, as to who he was as a teenager or as a young adult, and his personality and his behaviors and stuff like that, and sort of a troublemaker kind of guy, or like someone who was irresponsible. And Emmy was somebody who grew up in this small town and left as soon as she possibly could, as soon as she was 18, and she's been gone for like 9, 10 years, something like that. She still retains her young adult kind of personality, the like sweetheart of the town. And so, I don't know, I feel like it was kind of like Emmy comes into reuniting with Luke, and she just thinks of him as this irresponsible guy, this guy from this personality from 10 years ago. And it just kind of struck me as, why do you assume that this person hasn't changed or grown at all in 10 years? Like, that was dumb. And also, we the reader don't get to see either of them as young people. We don't get to see Luke messing up as a kid. And so this idea that he has like overcome a lot, or like used to be irresponsible and now is responsible, like that never really kind of followed through for me. And so Emmy kind of says at one point towards the end of the book, she says something like 2 months ago, Luke was the only person in the world I would voluntarily punch. And it was like, but why? We never got to see any of that. So I think that at the start of this book, there was supposed to be an element of like, not enemies to lovers, but this like, oh, we've always disliked each other. We've had a little bit of antagonism before. I mean, not to the extent that Teddy and Gus have. I mean, they're very clearly a love interest for future books. It was so heavily laid on. So I don't know. I felt like for me, this was cute. It was great. I liked the love that bloomed between these two people. I just felt like there were some elements in place that I don't personally care for a ton. I want to see the feelings develop and grow on page. And in this book, I felt like Luke was supposed to be, Emmy had this version of Luke in her mind, and then that kind of changes as she gets to know him. But we don't ever get to see sort of anything about Luke, or why her perspective is this way and why it would change. That's A. B, I want to see the conversations that make them fall in love. Like I said in my first clip, there's multiple times when they are talking, where it says, oh, and we talked, we hung out, it's been a whole week, we saw each other every day, and we don't get to see any of that. And so we're just basically told, and we've been getting closer every day. And it's like, I want to see that emotional development. And 3, I forgot my third. And 3, I felt like there was some dependence on and relying on the author saying, hey, these people, they've known each other their whole lives. They've been in each other's periphery. They have a whole long history that we're not going to really talk about almost at all, or show other than like 1 or 2 scenes or 1 or 2 comments. But like, they can rely on the fact that they already know each other moderately well. Like he kind of marvels at one point, oh, I guess I do know a lot more about Emmy that I've like picked up over the years, like her favorite foods and likes and dislikes, that kind of stuff. So I don't personally care for when there is history that is being relied upon. Did I already say that? Was that my number 1? I don't know. It's late. I'm tired. I thought this book was good. I thought it was solid. I thought it was kind of interesting. Oh, this is the thing. The third act conflict, or like the drama at the end of the book, is the whole because it's brother's best friend situation, and the brother in question is not happy, and whatever. And I always feel like this is way overdone in like, I mean, maybe it's because I don't have a brother. Maybe it's because like I have a younger sister, but like I trust her and her judgment as like a complete adult woman. But like this whole like, I'm a protective big brother, and you dare hurt her and I'll kill you. Like, I can't believe you lied to me, is just like, gag me with a spoon. So, yeah, those are my rambling, nonsensical, dramatic thoughts that are not in any order or making sense. So, also, meant to say, the steamy scenes in Done and Dusted were hot. They were hot. There was a bit of sort of like a dominance, beg for it kind of thing going on, but like it was good. It was very steamy. But yes, so ultimately I finished Done and Dusted, and I'm going to be able to submit that for, let's see, what prompts do I have? A book explores moving on or starting a new adventure. I would say I'm going to go ahead and use this for my Eight of Cups. Now, this will be the 14th book I will have completed for the Tarot Readathon, and I think that's the 14th book of the month. I think I've managed to make every yes, 14 books. That is pretty good. I was hoping to hit 15 because I had Ben pick a book for me, but you'll still see that in the vlog. I intend to read that, but I didn't manage to finish it for the Tarot Readathon. But 14 books for the Tarot Readathon, ultimately 9 of which will have counted for the major arcana, and I will put a little thing here of like my total number of points and that kind of stuff. But it is late. I am tired. I wanted to give you my rambling and nonsensical thoughts about my book. Oh, also at the end of Done and Dusted, there's like a quick like questions with the author or something in the audiobook. I only listened to half of it because I wanted to do this clip, but the author lists a whole bunch of authors and that the author really likes or has taken inspiration from, and it was a whole bunch of people that I have known and liked, and like Riley Sager, Abby Jimenez, I don't know. I'll re-listen to it and kind of put those people here. But I was like, I've read that person. I've read that person. I've read that person. So that kind of felt good. But I'm tired. I'm gonna submit my tarot points, final answers, and I'm gonna go to bed. Hello. It is Thursday, August 1st. I am not reading anything. I am not reading anything right now. I'm actually like pretty jazzed about it. Yesterday was the last day of July, and I finished Done and Dusted. You just finished watching me spout weird nonsense because I was very tired. But yeah, that was the last book I managed to finish for the Tarot Readathon, and that rounded out 14 books in my July. I just filmed my July wrap up 2 hours ago. And yeah, so here we are, 1st of August. I had a very busy day at work, so I didn't have a chance to start listening to any audiobooks. And also, I don't think I even have any I think I have one audiobook out, checked out from the library. I have The Night Swim, and that's it. So actually, that Night Swim, and then like I have the next volume of Ima Koi checked out from the library, and that's the only things I have checked out from the library right now. So I am between books at the moment. I'm not totally sure what the next thing I'm going to read is. I'm also going to just peruse my want to read list and pick something that maybe has an audiobook available so that I can start listening to that during the week. I don't know. I like to always have a variety. So this update is not really an update other than to say I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to read next, but I have been busy with editing videos, and I wanted to let you know sort of what the status is right now as of August 1st, even though you're going to see this way in the future. So yeah, it'll be a surprise. Stay tuned to see what I pick up. Hi. Okay, so today is Saturday. It's Saturday, middle of the afternoon, and I am giving you an update because I am about 50%, 45% of the way into Headlines by Ella Frank. This is the 3rd book in the Primetime trilogy. I've read book 1 and 2 also within the last week. I think book 2 was at the start of this week, so it was already earlier in this vlog. But anyway, I wanted to give you an update because I'm, about halfway through. And this is dumb, okay? I am very frustrated because the premise of this book is that it is a brother's best friend romance, and this is the 3rd book. In the 1st book, Xander is a celebrity. He has a stalker. Sean is like his fake boyfriend who is functioning as his bodyguard. Sean is a police detective. And over the course of him protecting Xander, the two of them have chemistry, have developed feelings, and start to date. But it's also new, it's also surprising. Sean has always been a person who dated women and thought he was straight, so he is totally surprised and caught off guard to have these feelings for Xander. So they kind of are keeping things quiet, private until they navigate that situation. At the end of book 1, something really dramatic happens and somebody gets hurt physically. And then in book 2, it's all about the two of them working through that. There is PTSD, there is recovering from the hospitalization situation, and the two of them really take a chance to get to know each other and start to develop their feelings and explore what's going on between them, and the feelings deepen. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and say it because I don't think anyone's gonna read this book, but like at the end of book 2, the conflict is that the brother this is brother's best friend, the brother finds out about them and is like extremely upset, overwrought, and not cool, not good with it at all. So that is the main conflict for book 3, is Sean and Xander are trying to navigate what their relationship is, if it has potentially ruined the relationship that Sean had with his brother Bailey, and that Xander, the best friendship that he had with Bailey. And my opinion is that Bailey is just, it makes no sense to me. Like I do not have any like serious family drama in my family. Like there's no Maury kind of situation. There's no big huge dramatic thing. Like I don't understand why I can understand why Bailey would be surprised. I can understand why Bailey might be upset that they kept it sort of secret, even though it hasn't been that long, and like I could understand the shock and surprise and understanding a little bit of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you kept this from me. But him being absolutely so like, I'm so wounded and I'm so hurt, and he's being cruel to Sean and Xander and giving them the silent treatment. Like these people are all adults. They're all like mid-30s, okay? And also there is an element here where Bailey and Xander have been best friends their whole lives, childhood best friends, and there was a period of time, I don't know, probably a decade earlier before these books started, where Bailey and Xander dated for a little while, but it just never worked out and they were able to go back to being best friends. So I can even kind of a little bit understand the element of Bailey saying, okay, why, brother Sean, are you going after my ex? Or like, whatever. I feel like the whole book being like, Bailey won't talk to us. Bailey thinks we should break up. What should we do? Should we break up to just like make things go back the way they were? Like you can't like the cat's out of the bag. You can't put the cat back in the bag and just hope that everything's fine. Like it's been done. Okay. So the fact that Bailey is just like, I'm so wounded. I can't believe you've done this to me. Like, Bailey, you're not in this fucking relationship. Okay. Chill. Those are my feelings. It's getting to the point where I'm really kind of wanting to DNF it, because I just literally don't understand why Bailey is so upset with his best friend and his brother. Other than like the little bit of like, oh, shock, surprise, I didn't think you were gay, Sean. Like, and a little element here of like, why did you keep this from me? A little element of like, is this serious? Why are you together if it's not serious? But like, total cold shoulder, total I've been betrayed by you feelings, to me just like literally don't make any sense. And so therefore it all reads as just melodrama that is nonsensical and obnoxious. And I think that I might not finish this book. So that's my feelings. Didn't realize, I feel like I haven't read that many brother's best friend, siblings best friend romances before, but the few that I have, this is something that is a huge conflict in the books. And it almost never makes any sense to me. I feel like in this case, Bailey, the brother, like should be thrilled that his best friend and his brother have gotten together, because he loves both of those people. You know what I mean? Like, even if he privately thinks, I don't think this relationship's going to work out. Not your place. Everyone here is a consenting adult. They are not hurting you by being together. Cool the fuck down. So there's my update. I will let you know if the book kind of turns around. The scene that I just read is just making things worse because Sean is putting his foot in his mouth, and it's obnoxious. So if I have to slog through another like 90 plus minutes, and these books are short, right? So if I have to slog through another 90 minutes of just like, what are we gonna do? Like, I'm gonna throw the book against the wall and probably just DNF it. So there you go. Those are my thoughts and feelings. Okay, so this update is like 8 minutes after the one that I just did, and thank God I read. If I'd read even just like like 5 more minutes, 8 more minutes, I think some of my concern could have been alleviated because Xander is basically saying everything in this chapter to Sean that I was basically just saying. He's like, we're all adults. Like, Bailey is someone I love and respect, but he doesn't dictate my life. Like, don't we deserve love? Like, let's, we will figure this out in the transition time. And I'm just like, thank God. Because I had some concern that this was going to turn very, like, teenage, like, oh, and we just moped about both being miserable for months or whatever for multiple chapters. And thankfully, no, Xander is speaking up and advocating for himself and also being kind to Sean and sort of advocating for Sean. And thank God, because we need this. And I really feel like Xander needs to be the kind of person who goes to Bailey and says, I love you, I respect you, I want our friendship back because I value you and have a lifetime's worth of, memories and love for you, but also this, like, I have found love and I can't allow that to come in the, like, I can't allow this friendship to come in the way of my life and my happiness. So if you can't, like, see the value that I place on this loving relationship that is, like, consensual and, is a good thing for me, then, like, I guess we, part ways here. So that's what he needs to do. We'll see if that actually happens. I feel like I was very hot-headed in the guest room and came out here and was like, okay, I guess I'll read a little bit more. And then, like, basically immediately Xander's like, okay, let's be adults here. And I'm like, oh, good. Now get Bailey in on that memo. Hi. Okay, so I have finished Headlines by Ella Frank, and ultimately it was good. It was very, like, mid. It was middle of the road. I mean, it was good. It was satisfying. There was resolution. Things got wrapped up. The people who had been acting stupid said, "Hey, I'm sorry. I've been acting stupid," which was very nice to read. I do still feel like my feelings from my first clip about this book in the first half are valid in that it is a stupid plot or a stupid thing to hang so much of a conflict onto. Like the entire conflict of this third book being the brother's best friend, brother being upset. Like, it just was, it was just overdone, especially since by the end and, like, midpoint to the end, we had multiple people all being like, oh, okay, sorry about how I handled things, like, my bad. It just sort of felt, it read very, like, new adult, even though these characters are mid-30s or whatever. So, yeah, ultimately, I thought it was perfectly fine. I was glad to finish it up so that I could finish out this little trilogy. I think Ella Frank's writing is very, like, casual, very easy to kind of read along and be pulled along through the story. I think that, yes, it was super rushed and, like, the characters kept saying, oh, this is so fast, it's so fast, but I ultimately was pleased with the amount of time we get to see of them on page working together, communicating, and kind of establishing more and more robustly the relationship and the feelings that are present. So, don't have any idea what I'm going to be reading next, but it is Saturday night. I also have less than a minute left of space on my camera, so I'm going to have to wrap this update here, but it's a big old mystery as to what you're going to see from me next. Hi, hello. It is Sunday. I am here to close out the weekly vlog with my final installment, because today I read, how well can you see this? Ima Koi, Volume 3, Ima Koi, Now I'm in Love, Volume 3. This is by Ayuko Hatta, and this is the third volume in the series. I read volumes 1 and 2 in June, and I honestly was like kind of underwhelmed, and sort of still am. In this book, or in this series, we're following Satomi is our main female character, and Yagyu is our main male character. And basically, in volume 1, she's like, "Oh, I like you. Let's date." And he says, "Okay, I like you too. Sounds good." And then in volume 2, it's summer, and they go on a couple dates. And so they go to the beach and run into his ex, and he's like, "Yeah, she's like pretty much better than you in a lot of ways, in most ways, in a lot of ways, but you're my number one, so like, cool." And I was like, what? And then later in that same volume, they go to the zoo on a date, and he brings along his bombshell middle school sister, who's like, "You can't take my big brother away from me. I'm creepy about this relationship, about how obsessed I am with my brother." And it was weird vibes. It was weird vibes all the way around. So in this third volume, the first half of it is that there is a cultural festival happening at the school, and sort of how they want to spend time together, but also have to like participate in this cultural festival. I don't know what kind of cultural festival has escape rooms and a butler slash maid cafe, but you know, okay. And then they hang out during his birthday, but she has to like babysit her cousin or something. So like they have like this little kid who's tagging along. And then in last chapter, volume, issue, whatever they're called, she knows that Christmas is coming up, and she decides to get a part-time job. Throughout this book, there is the introduction of a new character who is a year older than our two main characters. His name is Tatsuma. Hold on, give me half a second. Tatsukawa. He is a year older than them. He looks very similar to our main male character, Yagyu, except for he has glasses. And so, yeah, I think that they're kind of setting up that guy a little bit as like a love triangle situation. Like, he is getting a chance to see Satomi be kind and be a good hard worker. So I don't know if that will eventually lead to a love triangle or not, but I don't know. There's some stuff in here that it's really hard. This is a young adult romance, essentially. These two characters are in high school, and so it's kind of hard for me to like wrap my brain around the fact that like that's the age demographic we're working with, and also the like sort of just cultural differences are kind of weird. Like I said, like this cultural festival has some like components or whatever to it that the different classes decide to do that are just kind of like one of them puts on like a haunted house, and I was just, okay, whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's just like an opportunity for them to run around and do silly stuff, I guess. And Yagyu like gets jealous when he sees Satomi like talking to that upperclassman. But then like, I don't know. Anyway. And of course that upperclassman guy also works at Satomi's new job. So I feel like that could potentially be a source of tension in the future, but I don't know. It's very like these two are in a relationship, and it's cute, and that's basically all there is to it. And these are quick, easy reads. I think I read this in half an hour or so, and I'm just kind of chugging right through. So that is going to end my. I'm finishing this vlog here. It is Sunday evening. This is kind of like the last clip of a weekly vlog that you'll see for a hot second. Hopefully. Maybe. I guess we'll find out. So, thanks so much for watching this video, and yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, and keep an eye out for new and exciting content. We'll see. Coming soon. But thank you so much for watching. Bye.